can't we do this? Somebody else will help execute it, but you will be present to pour out all the vision you have, the idea you are thinking of, and you are told, yes, that is possible. Yeah, that one is possible, but maybe the tricky bit is this, etc, etc. So here, what we are doing is called brainstorming. Hapa tunakuja tunasema, what are the way forward? What is the best way forward? What did we get wrong? How do we fix it? Tuna capture, we are just capturing. Lakini when we hit the group and the topics, now we're going to, kwa sababu umeshajitolea, like now I'm sure you'll make sure, Daktari, you're in the team for the website for anti-corruption, because you have a passion for it, and that's what we want. So here is collecting. Tuko pamoja?
That's very true. That's very true.
Exactly. So that ukikuja hapa useme what's the timeline.
But guys, always, the website can have everything. It can have infrastructure projects. Then they are divided into roads, dams, water, that's schools, hospitals. True. Then you can go into integrity. There you have things to do. So that this website becomes a one-stop shop.
Okay, because now we'll want this one to focus on, let's say, corruption. Yes, you can do that. Let's say for the corruption section.
Because if we have too many things out there, Kenyans, they'll get fatigue.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you give them a supermarket.
What I was actually saying, what I was saying, Abdul, before, is it possible, or Anthony, is it possible to have a website that has subsets, like you have Ministry of Education?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like a book.
Yeah,
it can have a context.
A book, like you open it and you, if you have an interest, what is going on in the Ministry of Education, the amount of money allocated to them, the period they are supposed to do the contract, and then now you will have a section of anti-corruption.
So Dr. Aljo, we've said it's possible. Don't worry about possibility.
All these things are possible. We just need to go and sit down somewhere and figure out what we want to be on that website, and then we'll do like a pilot. We will release it to people, and then we get feedback. So so everything is possible. Definitely.
We are all together. With technology, it's possible. So don't worry about the nitty-gritty. For now, we want to give more people to give ideas. I was just agreeing with the concept of these things are possible. They can be even amplified to have better facets. So just keep chipping in your ideas. That's what we want. And then we want your participation. We've said this over and over again. Let's not be wananchi who just talk, but we don't want to participate. Talk, come help. If you are too far to help, you will know how to send your support, whether it is ideas, whatever. You'll find a way to send your support or come find a way to help. So that was all I was adding. So who was next? I was just making sure that not so many people don't speak, then we lose track. It
was KAYD, then Marabu Stock. Then the reason I'm saying Abu will be last because he had spoken. So KAYD, then Marabu Stock.
It's KD.
KD.
Yeah. So thanks first of all for the host of the space. I always learn something new every day, although one of the biggest lessons I'm learning is we are too ambitious. And why do I say that? For instance, the reason I joined this space basically was, and I don't mean to be hard on anyone, was because of the theme. It's what were our missteps in our agitating our lessons. Sorry, I'm driving, so if I hesitate, just understand. But in between, you realize there's so many brilliant ideas that are coming up, and we are not on the same page. I can just tell from the few speakers who have spoken. I think the most important thing I've picked up is we missed on 4 things. Number 1, morals. Number 2, culture. Number 3, fear. And number 4, knowledge, which is something that I think we have so far misinterpreted. Some of us feel we know when we don't. Some of us have a lot of information, but we just don't know how to articulate or put it into implementation. I'll try to be as short as possible because of the time sensitivity and all that. When I say morals, what do I mean? We have lived in this country for, most of us, let me say 30 years, 35 to be at most, because that is our age group. And there's things we are seeing that are not the norm. You don't need to be 50, 70 years old for you to know this is not right. You know, if there's anything I can say, we are the first African country with the first country in this century to actually outdo our government in existence. Why? Because on the 25th, we actually made a statement that was so far overruled. Why is that? Because we don't have morals. The people in power did not respect what the citizens said. That's why they are still stuck up on that regime. The regime we have right now should not be in power. Okay? And why somebody said we got to a point and we kind of ignored the kind of zeal and desire we had. It's because fear was planted in us. So many people were abducted, so many people died, so many people went missing, so many people still live in fear up to this day because the counteraction the government gave back was instilling fear in all of us. All right. Now, we're speaking of so many ideas right now that some of them blow my mind off. But what is happening? We're the same generation that says we are learned. Guess what these guys are doing? They collect the incentives we have. They get some of our own generation who will be compromised. They go and execute the same ideas while we still wait. Okay? So what does that mean? As much as we have good knowledge, we do not have the timelines and tractions to know how to actually counter what is happening right now. That idea for our website is magnificent. It's brilliant. But the question I would ask is, don't we have websites? We do have all this information out there. We do have systems that are actually in place right now. The problem is we just need to find the right people to actually run this. I think Kenyan Voice, I spoke to you yesterday on another space, and you blew my mind. I think you're a geek that needs to be out there. If I were you, if I were like in a position, I'll just put you in a place and just make you do everything because I read so many things from your mind. But the people we have in the IT department of the country right now, simply, for the lack of a better word, I would say they are puppets. They are robots who are told to share out what is relevant to the country, and what is not supposed to be shown is actually gagged, so we'll never get to know. Even if we come up with a website and put all this information we need, it's still not going to get us to the promised land because our problem is not the information. Our problem is getting to counteract those people who break the right rules that are whatever in the whatever. With that having been said and done, I would actually like maybe one of you to suggest, or anyone who has an idea on how, even with the system that is being suggested, we can actually get to follow up on the people who go ahead and embezzle money, loot, and do all these and incomplete projects and stuff like that. How do we hold them accountable? How do we make the Chapter 6 of the Constitution so much active to the point that even if me, KD, I'm elected as a member of, or rather a CS for roads in 10, 15, whatever years in time from now, I will never get to a point of getting to embezzle funds. Somebody mentioned about China. I've been privileged enough to travel around the world, and what Chinese have done is they have embraced their culture to this time and era. They have embraced the culture to the point that they still keep up with the morals of what the whatever generations did. When we talk about the clergy, I'm happy even John is here because we've been sharing a few moments together. I spoke to one of the priests and he told me one thing that really touched me. He said, if you're waiting for us to go ahead and talk of the projects we do, you are so mistaken because that is not what my faith teaches me. So I think what we need to do also is our generation has fell back from the religiosity, from activities that entail our spiritual life. Can we get to a point of showing that we have the interest of getting to know the matters that govern, rather control the church? The way we got to a point and said, occupy churches, and now these MPs who used to, the church has the biggest crowd. So they know if I want to drive my point home, the best way to actually drive my point home is on Sunday. Can we get to a point that they'll get to see so many of our faces in that place of worship, they will not be able to actually come and articulate their seras for them to confuse these old people, you know? And even as we speak about these websites and all these things, I would like us to realize we are only a small percentage of the elite in the society. What measures do we have that is going to enlighten those who do not have technology, or rather are technologically disabled to be able to know what is happening. Because coming up with these incentives is one thing, getting to spread them out there is another thing. Pangu, when you talk about the missteps we missed and the lessons we need to learn, I think the first thing we need to equip ourselves so much well is knowledge. I like when, is it Abdul Karim who said, we just like say, give a tip of the iceberg on this space and then form our own groups and actually now go and diverge into dwelling in this thing at a deeper whatever, because these spaces have exposed so much of the ideas we had that get compromised even before they get to materialize, you know. And if on the 25th, we knew that actually getting into parliament would mean us not leaving the parliament on that day, this regime would not be in power. Lakini atukujua, so guys went in and came out. And they've actually just covered that whole story like that. But in any civilized nation, you know very well, when the people take the parliament, it means the government even Musali, I think, mentioned that thing. You know, so let's equip ourselves with much of this civic knowledge that we're talking about, that next time we have an opportunity, not of the kind, but any other, we will know the right steps to take as a nation to know that I need to know this means this, and law 29, no, plan all the way to the end, get to know what I need to do to the last core of it, you know. And I think anything else, if anyone has a question or rather anything you need to object or support on, I'll be willing. I like what Mr. Makweli said. We have so many systems in place. Our problem is we have systems that have actually infiltrated the system. So even when you talk about the cryptocurrency, it's a very good initiative, but do you think the people who actually embezzle funds are going to let the cryptocurrency work, knowing very well that they benefit from the currency we are actually using right now? The question is, how do we make it implementable and active?
Okay.
I beg to rest my case.
Thank you, KD.
KD, just so you know, the technology I'm referring to, they cannot stop it. It is very hard for them. It's designed for exactly this situation where they are going to hate it, but it's designed to be able to be unstoppable. And I have good reasons to believe it's going to be very hard for them to stop.
Right. So with having said that, the other question I would ask is...
No, KD.
Hold up a minute. I think you said something very profound, KD. You said, how do we make this information get to the common mwananchi, right? I happen to be in rural Kenya when I'm talking to you guys. So the other day, the president was in my backyard. Do you know what stopped the president from mobilizing? It was WhatsApp. So guys were called to a field somewhere to be given money so that when the president comes, there will be a crowd. So a WhatsApp message started going around. Do you know what people did? People went and stopped people from going to that meeting. So people had to be ferried from a different county to come to this county for the president to address them. Why did I go there? And that's the reason when Kenyan was talking, I said, how do we make it as simple as possible? So as I was talking to a gentleman, I was having tea in town and he told me, our elderly guy told me, do you know what will determine the next elections in this country? Do you know what will determine the next president? It will be tech. It will be tech. In fact, he talked in Kikuyu and said, the next president will be decided on the mobile phones. Okay, so before even we go, I'm not disputing crypto. If we can get our message from space, Facebook, the only way it is going to get to rural Kenya is now if we become the agents who will now send it to WhatsApp groups. We have to create a chain that what we discuss on space goes to and Facebook and TikTok, then it comes to WhatsApp groups. Then it will disseminate to the entire country. That's how effective technology will be. Let's think simple before we go complex. Remember, and I told someone, old people say, steady keeps the ship on course. Let's just be steady and we'll reach the course. Those are my submissions. But wonderful.
You simplified what I was asking. That last statement just summarizes everything. But realize it's all of us who have to. Anton is just one of us we need another like 40 million of Anthony's for this to be actually active. You know, that is just what I would. Yeah, that's my point. That's what I was trying to drive across.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
I think the idea is, and if you came actually, I don't know how long you've been in the meeting, but I'd just gone from saying nobody expects this to be a quick fix. I even said one of the problems was having our goals very lofty, even going into parliament and staying there. Let's say these guys are dropped out, IBC is not there. We'd have quite some tricky things to get out of. But the idea is our message was sent. So that thing did not fail. It was very successful. So the idea is to say now, better organizing. We organize and we mobilize. And that idea of Anthony is excellent. We need to take the message to the spaces. What we have been saying in the groups is this: let's create a harmonized civic education in these groups that we start with, because you have to start with who you can reach. If we're starting with guys who are on Twitter, who know how to use smartphones, we start there, we go, we perfect that message. Already the information for regular civic education is on our website. You'll find it in the groups. The extra education we need to add is, the website doesn't have information like the Seed Act, that people can't plant, they can't exchange seeds. That's the stuff we now again need to harmonize. Let our people up country know how we are being misused. Pass the information to them. In that WhatsApp group, have a link. If you have WhatsApp, you have a small browser on your phone. By the time we create that website Daktari is talking about, they can talk on WhatsApp, go check on the website. They say, my God, this project should have been done in our constituency. It was not done, that kind of stuff. So we are going to reach out to all social media spaces. So those ideas are excellent. And thank you, KD. The idea is nobody should expect a quick fix. There's no quick fix coming. We are going to bear with it. It's going to take hard work, but we'll manage. Kenyan Voice, you want to add something quickly?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because I think he said that we have a website and they're already there. Yes, there are websites nyingi sana. And I would ask you, I would challenge you, umewaingia personally kwa website ya Auditor General. I've been there. I've downloaded one of those PDFs. Those PDFs are long.
I have.
Yes. So, but it's not, do you agree with me that it's not easy to start? You would have to be very intentional to get in one of those websites to look for the information that you want. So what we're trying to do is to have everything on a GIS-based website where it's on a map. And then you can have filters if you want to, filters for different things. For location, you can do them using ministries, unaweza sema Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education. And then now what we are tracking are projects. And the whole essence of this tool is so that people on the ground can know what is going on with the projects locally. I think the challenge for this movement was people on Komashinani, they have no connection to this movement, because ukianza kuambia via corruption yenye barabara yenye in some other place, they are not. But if you tell them, you see this, hii barabara yako kwa village yako, ama this health center, ili receive 3 million and you never saw it, people will get really connected to that issue at that level. So I think now this tool will be a tool for people at local level to be able to, a one-stop shop, to be able to see, okay, here is the information, then use that information for civic education, educating everybody. So that's the whole goal.
Perfect, Kenyan Voice. That's what we are saying. The idea is, you even mentioned information. We want information to get to you that is pertinent to the ward you are in, the constituency, the county, and of course the country. That's the goal. We are getting information. We be patient. Everything will be set up. Rome was not built in a day. Okay? So the idea is agreeing with Kenyan Voice. That's the plan. Somebody can check those things projects can be based on ministry. What was the Ministry of Water meant to do? What was the Ministry of Sports meant to do? The Ministry of Youth in my constituency. It's mapped so that if it was meant to build a stadium, you can see where it was supposed to be built, and project management has timelines. Projects are based on time. Munaenda mnaanza kupiga picha to keep track. The moment things
in short, what Kenyan is saying, Wallace, to put it in layman's language, his website will be user-friendly, interactive.
We are agreeing. I think we are agreeing.
Government websites are not interactive.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also the fact that a regular Kenyan can't go search through all those documents to find out what's happened. We are making it easy for him to know by giving him a map. He clicks on it. That's user friendliness, as you're saying, Anthony. Correct.
All right. Can I chime in just to enlighten what I was trying to share?
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to say whatever Kenyan Voice is saying is null and void. I'm not saying whatever you guys are saying is wrong. My point was, number one, we can actually get to that user-friendly whatever. And Anthony, you've actually made it very easy when you said we need to actually devolve this thing from being online on these spaces and go down to those mamambogas who are given money to go and actually do what? Be the crowd for the president, number one. Number two, I said, we already have websites in place. If we can get more Kenyan voices to actually get into these spaces, websites, that they can actually be able to simplify, because now, number one, if you, for example, do our own websites, somebody's being paid on those rogue websites that are not helping us. That means a system is actually active in the system that was put in place right now. And that's why my point was, kama tunaweza kuwa na a scenario whereby we can just get to have, say, like the question I was asking was, how are we going to make now, like, for example, Kenyan Voices website be the number one go-to in case I need information? Because we have this website that has too much information that I think even the most learned IT expert will just get bored and doze off against your website. I hope you get my point.
KD, I get your point. And you see what we are doing right now, as we are doing the hardcore. We are doing the heavy lifting. So once we see this generation that has gone to uni figures it out, trust you me, WhatsApp will be the game changer of all this thing. You might not see it now, but WhatsApp will be the game changer. Why? Because WhatsApp is with everyone. Not everyone is on X, but I can assure you, 80% of Kenyans are on WhatsApp. So once we get this information, the next change will be WhatsApp. And that's why you saw TikTok was very good. So now WhatsApp ndio itaingisha information yote. Like you see what Morara is doing. Someone is going to take a screenshot of that and put it on WhatsApp. Then it will start trending on groups. Technology will just align itself. Am I making some sense to you, KD?
Yes, you are. I'm 100%.
Exactly. That's how we are going to change this movement. It will be WhatsApp is the final piece of the puzzle. But let's hear what Kinanjeri and David have to say, and Marabusto.
Wacha ni kudm hao wengine waongee pia. I think it will be better.
Okay, cool. Marabusto, go.
So, greetings in the name of the Most High. We are in great conversation we are having. And as a Rastaman, I always want to remind you that the main penance of Rastafari is being grounded. And being grounded is doing everything through love, because at the end of the day, the greatest commandment is love, isn't it? And love is about being grounded. You cannot stop technology, that's true. But the question you're forgetting to ask yourself is, will people get on board? Before you even try to stop it, how many people are on board? And you must really understand that people go for things that add value to their lives. They don't do things for the sake of doing things, So you can open up a shop and stock it and do everything you do. But for the customer to come, they don't come there simply because you've opened a shop. They come there because they find value in whatever you've opened. And they see that it is better than the other option. So as we're going to technology, I can tell you myself, I own some Satoshi Bitcoins, but among us, my friends, very few of them own it. And Bitcoin is about what? About 12 years. And I ask myself, why is it that I'm the only one who is owning some bit of Satoshi here and there? It's because most of them have not yet seen the value in owning these things. So as much as we come up with good systems, especially when it comes to technology, we must also understand that if we are not creating the value, if we have not seen a value, for instance, let me give you a small example. When you go to the village, so many people have KCSE certificates. Most don't have degrees. So if you come up with a system that tries to say that people with KCSE can vie for MP, you'll find a lot of support for such a thing, because it is grounded. Grounded, I mean that it is in the ground. So many people can associate with it because they see it's adding value to them. Somebody who has a KCSE will say, oh, this person wants to enable me to become an MP. But if you come up with a system that is sort of shutting down, and it looks so elitist and it looks so posh, as much as this system is good for humanity, we know climate change is affecting the world. But why is it that so many people don't want to leave their fossil cars and go for electricity? Because they have not seen the value in it. As much as we can say that climate change is affecting the world, so many people are still riding on oil and other fossil fuels because they have not seen the value. So I think the biggest challenge for us right now is to find a way in which Kenyans know they're suffering. Kenyans know there's looting. Kenyans know there's a bad system in place. Kenyans know the constitution is faulty. But have they seen the value of making this paradigm shift from this comfort zone that we are in right now to go into uncharted territory, which we don't even know who this leadership is, where these people are leading us? Even if you come up with a system and you tell them that Jesus Christ came with a good system, and what did they do to him? They crucified the man. Why? Because the Romans showed that Jesus Christ's system had no value to the people. Yet right now, when we see it, we see that it had value. But the people could not understand the messaging behind it and see the value behind it. So at the end of the day, I think it's very important, like Rasta we say, to be grounded. Grounded means you put your feet on the elements of earth. The elements of earth will give you the energy and will show you what you need to do to create value for this populace. And Kenyans are not very stupid people, even if they don't have smartphones and anything. Right now, I can tell you the big majority who are not speaking are waiting for 2027, and they'll surprise you. They'll do what you think you will do yourself. They cannot tell you right now, but they'll actually do it. Lastly, what I wanted to say is when we go to technology, we don't have laws and legislation that deal with technology per se. So when we see these legislators like Babu Owino and all these guys who are trying to clamor for Gen Z, instead of shutting them away, why can't we ask Babu Owino to bring in a bill to Parliament to try and entrench this cryptocurrency issue? Because that is the only system you can make it legal. So instead of saying that we are fighting against these people, yet they have provided themselves to be used by Gen Z, and we know that they have the capabilities to bring these changes within the system itself, the system being Parliament. Instead of saying we don't want Babu Owino, why can't we send him on errands and see what he can do for the movement and see if he is truly within the movement? Instead of saying that we don't want these people, we just want people below 35. Yet there's nobody below 35 in Parliament who's willing to bring this bill of cryptocurrencies, of Binance, of all these things in Parliament. So let's also try to work with what we have. Whoever has come to the movement and is trying to give us props, let's try and work with these people, because shutting them down will make them enemies, and an enemy of ours is a friend to the system. So let's also try to accommodate as many people as possible to ensure that we prosper. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Marabo.
Thank you, Marabo.
I'm thinking in agreement with you. Let's not lock. You made me remember. Let's not lock anyone out. I think I said even the Gen Zs now are saying that Gen Zote. Let the politicians, if they say they are coming in, you can't stop them. They have a right. But they'll let them come in as was a lendo. They're not coming with their titles. They're not coming claiming because I'm a politician, I am now heading what you guys are doing. But if they come and say, I just want to chip in as a fellow patriot like the rest of you, let them do their bit. Well and good. So we should not lock anybody out. The wisdom of the elders is necessary. The energy of the youth is critical because they are the foot soldiers. And we will not let guys like Rex and all those young people who have given their lives so fast to have lost their lives in vain. We are going to keep at it. until what they died for is manifest. I think you had said Njeri was next. It's now 11:37. We'll keep going. We'll maybe hand out the last round of mics. We can catch up maybe tomorrow. But anyway, let's finish. Njeri, was it Njeri next? I don't know. Njeri, Anthony?
Yes.
Correct. Continue.
Yeah, it's Njeri, then David. David who?
David Wakal.
David Wakabi.
Okay, correct. Let's go, Njeri. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. I just love what you people are discussing, and I think I'm in agreement with everything that has been said. Now, the youth really, they are up to the game with technology and information. Today I was watching a lot of coverage even by Citizen, and they are talking about how the social space, is changing, how what people think in Kenya. And someone was even saying that there's now a tendency of people to be on the lookout of what is going on in space, even in YouTube. And this is really good. I think that's a good direction, because the mainstream media no longer have a monopoly of information. That's a good thing. And also, I want to appreciate the WhatsApp thing. As a speaker earlier talked about how they were able to change people's minds on WhatsApp. I think most of us here now in many WhatsApp groups. So I agree with earlier speakers. When you get a message that we need people to hear, let us share it. Don't share away, even if it's your uncles and your aunties who don't like the way you speak of what you think. Anyway, even if they delete the message, they will have seen it. Now, I'm speaking about this because I've been in the forefront since 2022 general election. Personally, I didn't agree with what a lot of my people thought. And I fought and campaigned, and I asked them not to support Ruto. And today, they're in agreement with me that they were wrong. So I think now if I go back with another messaging, they'll totally agree with me that really, Jerry, this is the way we need to do, or this is the way we need to go. Now, notwithstanding, some earlier speakers have also said that we are not able to reach the ground, or the young generation seems really not able to reach the ground. Now, in the recent past, I have been watching Jimmy Wanjigi. Then I think yesterday I listened to the Babu team. And I'm asking myself why the young generation cannot ride on the Jimmy Wanjigis and the Babu Owinos. Now, we don't have to say that let them come if they want. No, we go for them. You go for them. You invite them. Now, you people, you realize that at the moments you have invited even Mother Karoa, the space is crowded. I think you can remember that. When those of you who have been on space now, I think I joined the space just a while ago. I was not very active on Twitter. But when I began listening to people, the moments that someone like Mother Karoa was speaking, there were thousands and thousands of listeners. What does that tell you? People, even those who are on space, decide whom to listen to. When they look at the space and they see Jimmy Wanjigi speaking, they'll jump in. They may not like him, but they want to hear what he's saying. Now, the moment that the other time I used to listen to the Faith of the Ambo space when the lawyers were speaking, and there were over 60,000 people listening. Ask yourself why sometimes you're not able to attract a crowd. Because now, I love that you people are now saying Gen All. That's a good thing. But then we can't take it for granted that these people who have been here, people still listen to them. That is why even in the past, the changes, though the common man was for the changes were still brought by the people whom people dared to listen. I think we can go back to history. I want to go back to the days of multi-party struggle. That is when I think I was much grown enough to know what's happening. And I still remember that I heard Matiba say it that when he was kicked out of KANU, he said if Kenya is not a multi-party, if Kenya has no other party, what happens to those people who are kicked out of KANU? Then he said, I, Stanley Kenneth Matiba Jindo, I today declare that Kenya is a multi-party. Now, why did people listen to him? Because he was already a member of parliament and he was not to be conflicting with Moi. And then, you see, he was still in government. People listened to him. Now, what I'm trying to say, I think now we have said this again, and I think I've mentioned this in another space. It is high time we become proactive. Let us not just sit here and say, if they want to come, they want to come. No. Yesterday, I saw Babu Owino speaking with Wamushomba. Why don't you invite them to space? Secondly, now, people, I want to tell you that I belong to the Gen X. And I think less than a quarter of Gen X understand Twitter and space. We are voters, and I think all of us, I'm not sure whether Gen Z are registered voters, but you agree with me when the election is held today, the millennium and the Gen X and the others who are ahead of us or slightly below us will decide, will be the people who still have the votes to say yes or no. That is where you can blame us for sometimes selling the country to the devil, because a lot of people of our population voted for Ruto. If that is, if we assume that the election was not stolen. Now, I'm trying to say we have to reach them by crook or by hook. People still wait to see nani alita mkutano, nani alikuwa na press conference. When Babu Owino and Wamushomba called that press conference, all the mainstream media covered them. How many of you here have called a press conference and have been covered? You see, if you ask now the people in the village, they heard what Babu Owino said. They heard what Wamushomba said, and another MP from Western. They heard them clearly. Now, I think we have to go out now, come go for them, give them the messaging, and sponsor their press conferences. Let them do press conference after press conference after press conference. Because whether KTN, Citizen, or NTV likes, they will still cover them. Let us sponsor them, and I'm sure they appear on mainstream media to discuss these things. Now, there's a young man called Kasmuel. Why can't we invite him? Now people are paying attention to Kasmuel, and I think the media wants to hear what Kasmuel is saying. So let us sponsor him. Let us take him back to the mainstream media to give our messaging. Right now, we have no time to start thinking tukiwaita watajifanya tu wanasimamia presidency, sijui watajifanya wao ndio wanatuongoza. We don't care right now. You don't even have a leader. So we don't even care who becomes popular or not becomes popular. Like somebody said here, I totally agree with that person that the next presidency will be determined on social media. So because we all know that that's what we're going to do, and we're going to campaign for somebody, for now, we have to decide now and call these people back. Call them. You know them. You know those who are daring. Jim Wanjege seems to be daring the government. And because he seems to be daring, there's no way they're going after his life. They'll go after your life. People like Jimmy, people like Babu, they'll not go after their lives now, Akina Wamushomba. So they're now like free to just say what they want. So guys, if you want to get the message home, get the people who can get the message home. And I want to ask you, please accept the reality. I am saying the Gen X and those who are slightly younger than me, less than a quarter even understand how to jam into Twitter space. I'm telling you, less than a quarter understand how to do that. Less than a quarter. And you need these people. So how do you get these people? Through mainstream media, through the radios. That is how you can get them. And who get attention in those radios and the TVs is the politicians we don't want to associate with. So get hold of these politicians. Even somebody like Omtata, bring him, tell him now to stop like dancing like lawyer kind of a thing to the court. Let him even declare his presidential candidacy and tell Kenyans he's fighting for Kenya. What is wrong with him doing that? Tell them he's fighting for Kenya. He shouldn't care. He shouldn't give a damn. Tell them that it is Kama Nimbaya, I'm fighting for Kenyans. Bring him on board. Give him the backing. When all this fight is done, we can decide whom we want for presidency. But for now, let us bring them on board. Asanteni sana.
Thank you for your submission, Jerry. Thank you very much. Next. Was it David?
Yeah, it's all
correct.
Can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Thank you so much, Wallace, Anthony, and Abdulrahman for hosting the space. I think I've been so addicted to these spaces, so I'm very happy to be here and being given that chance to speak. So, okay, I tried. I want to speak about the website, yeah, Mkura. So I've not been so much. I'm not very familiar with crypto and those things about bitcoins and mining. So I tried joining any of the forums. I used the link. I tried opening. I even have created the Bitcoin account, but I'm having trouble getting to access. As in, I have seen maybe like the Mkura one of the links has 3 members. I tried joining, but I have had a bit of trouble. So I'm not very familiar with the Bitcoin. So if there's anyone who knows how to go about it, because I'm very eager to join those spaces, but I don't know how to go about it. So if anyone, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you've come to the right place because okay, I won't do it here because I'm in that group also. You've seen there's a section called test app test. Just go in there.
Okay.
I'll find you there. Just put your question, and tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. we are going to be running a feedback and maybe a live test, maybe to help people one-on-one. But I'll see if I can help you through your Telegram DM. I'll send you a video, and we'll know how to connect. I know it's going to 11, so I'm sure you'll test it in the morning. But by tomorrow 8 p.m. we are having a test session on the WhatsApp group, on the Telegram group. So you should be sorted out by tomorrow. Thanks for your. That's why we set up. It's a pilot. That's why it's called test. Whatever we get to know, we need to make a system that is super easy. Somebody can go from not installed to voting in less than 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. So thank you very much for that highlight. Thank you. We want to give guys who have not spoken, but let's say we'll Mboya, we can put Abu last. Mboya, I don't think has spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's give
Hello. Thank you, co-host, and other members. Thank you for giving me this space. I think the road for freedom has a lot of challenges. They are death, they are all that. But resilient make us to have that freedom. Just wanted to talk about 1, 2, 3 things. First of all, we youths, we ever say, even though they panicked because what we say make them panic. So I wanted to differ a little bit with the speaker that sometimes we make a choice. That choice we make can give us what we want. These politicians, they talk. That's why all the media will cover them. Everything will cover them because they tend to have a representative. They represent. But the people they represent are not the people saying that represent us. Now we come up, we tell them, you represent that, but constitutionally you present that, but whatever you present that, we are not agreeing with it. That's why Babu will come tell us this and this because he want to be relevant to Gen Zs and Millennium. Why? Because he knows that if I go with this route, is the route for me to have a title. But all of them, they are politicians. I wish to verify that when they were doing all their panel selection and everything, I never see any Gen Z who just say that I have only 1 shilling to declare. But I hear people declaring millions and billions. Why are they doing that? Because they know that if we don't do this, they will do for us. So I just want to say one thing. This freedom, this road of freedom has its challenges, but we have to press on. Let us press on until we get whatever we want. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mboya, 1 minute, Wallace. On the 25th, you made the political class panic because for the first time, they saw citizens coming together The reason we are governed easily is because it is easy to fragment us into tribes. But on the 25th, Kenya spoke as a nation, one tribe called Kenya. That is the reason people panicked. That is the reason the president panicked. If we can collectively go back to that spirit of the 25th, this country called Kenya will change. That is my message to you, Mboya. They say, if you are a scholar of history, when the peasants of France came together, the monarchy of France fell. So is it time for Kenyans to come together, not as Kisis or Kikuyus or Kalenjins or whatever, but to come together as Kenyans? And the day we come together as Kenyans, then that day is the day Kenya will be born again. It will be born now like Tanzania was born as Kenya. We need that moment again.
Thank you. Very true. We've been saying that. I've reiterated it many times that unfortunately our founding fathers never let us be a nation. They just pushed us into tribalism, taking oaths, assassinating people. But let's say we can't change the past. We can't improve the past. We can only learn from it and move forward. I want to give Abu a chance, then Glass King might be the last person for today. Actually, we learned today, we had several failed spaces before we came to, I'm happy with Abdul Rahman's connection. It has not dropped us. We actually went through 2 spaces and a Telegram chat meet before we got here. But we will plan on having alternatives of when we have any glitch. That's why we need to follow each other. Make sure you're following everybody who is a co-host and a host and everything, and each other, so that if we ever need to switch, it doesn't matter who hosts. The question is, does the conversation move forward? So for now, I want to give Abu a chance, then Glass King. Then we can quickly agree on when we'll hook up next. Some of it we'll discuss in the group. But first, Abu, kindly go ahead with your submission. It's going to, we are close to midnight. We want to close at midnight, or it's not much longer after that, because I'm sure even Abdul Rahman needs to rest. Go ahead, brother Abu.
Thank you. Thank you very much. After you guys, thank you for giving me this again. I'm really the privilege. First of all, nataka kusema mcheza nyumbani hutuzwa. First of all, concerning should we go with the politicians? This question has run around the Twitter a lot. The thing is first, you guys have to organize each other, organize ourselves. You guys organize into a structure. Amwezi pata faida kutoka kwa watu wengine. These people have ambition. They want what they want. But I'm not saying, I never refused. Nilisema this revolution, this movement, it's your baby, the Gen Z's baby. Nobody can deny it. Okay, you own the achievements and you own whatever comes after. Concerning, we need to be on all platforms. Kama anti-corruption, kunakuwa na kwa Twitter, Gen Z anti-corruption, where they will repost corruption, repost Carrero's videos, repost whatever. Everyone, you constantly update it. We need the one post where it goes like that. Concerning, I said shadow government. All those leading Twitter, or those who have big platform, you guys can meet and see where it goes. I'm not saying we shouldn't invite influential politicians. We should invite them. They bring the crowd, as my sister Jerry said. They bring let's listen to them. Let's use them. It's fine. But first, guys, we need to organize. There's no other way. There's no other way out of this game. Organize is the only path forward. Another msemo nataka kusema, kila mtu anasema huyu paka nani atamwekea kengele.
We need, if anybody who has a skill in website, because if you have a website, there's some governments in the world where only one website, it has a portal. Ministry of Education has a portal inside that website. You just stroke portal, education portal, mining portal, and then second, every region in Kenya we should have somebody we know that is a Gen Z and he's running that region. Kamani central Kenya, Kamani coastal region, Kamani Nyanza, whatever. Every region, every locality, we should have an individual we know that is there, he's local, and is giving us top-notch information. Organizing is the name of the game. So that's the only few guys, you're throwing a lot of gems here. Amazing. You see, nobody can deny we have wisdom in these houses. Look at our brother Wallace talking about cryptocurrency. We look at so many people are there. The people who are specialized in geology are here. Believe me, there's so many people who understand markets, how it works. So please, guys, we use them, but first order of the day, all of us organize. Abdurrahman, Anton, and Wallace, and all of you guys, if you have a link to other leading platforms, please connect, make your own Instagram account, and see where you guys are gonna go. It's important that we make this thing happen. I think my contribution is that I need to go for my Isha. I appreciate all you guys, and good night. It's very late. And
thank you very much. Exactly. Which means the remaining guys, you really need just to take a minute or two maximum because of the time, so that we can have our closing submissions. But agreed with you. We have been working to try and pull all the different hosts to have a mega space, and we will champion for that. We'll begin with who we are and who we have. Over time, they will be able to come join us. Even the media will follow us. There's not always the idea for calling big shots is fine, but we have to, as you said, organize first. Don't let somebody come, you're disorganized. Otherwise, when they organize you, they'll say, but I did this for you. Wacha wapate tumejipanga. Let them find we don't need them. We're just inviting them. So I'll give it to Glass King, maybe 2 minutes. Kim, umekuja last, nimeona tu nisikufungie nje. Glass King, Kenya, kindly just put your submission and we'll appreciate.
Hello, Wallace. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
I don't think I think I'll make my last one statement or one sentence only, because everyone has shared whatever before I joined I wanted to say. Yeah? I want to finish with what the last speaker said. The title says Road to Freedom. Just delete the other things and say how to organize. Just it. If the road to freedom and how to organize should be the discussion going forward. If it is finding the jige, if it is finding the big wigs, if it is, people should discuss on the way forward. So when it happens, we come and do whatever we did on 25th. That's it. I don't want to belabor anything on that. Just finish. Thank you for the submission. Thank you for everything that you've shared.
Thank you so much, Zalendo. Exactly. Actually, we decided this space would be different. Initially, it was called What is the Way Forward? It's time to speak solutions. Everybody can speak problems. Everybody can tell you what's wrong with Kenya. The challenge will be, if you can see a problem, come up with an idea, even if it's a bad idea, even if it's a bad solution, it can be improved. But don't just see the problem, come up and say, okay, this, then we deliberate it down and we refine it and make it better. So thanks a lot for that. Where is Kim? Kim, you are the last guy to share. Where is Kim 001? Did they drop the mic? Okay. So I think one of the things I can, maybe Anthony, do you have any last submissions? Then we can go closing. Then Abdul Rahman will finally close.
Thank you, Wallace. Thank you, Abdul Rahman. Thank you to all the speakers and all the listeners. My closing remarks will be this. Someone asked, how do we change this country? Because the people who we've entrusted to change it for us have not. I always tell people, when Barack Obama ran to be the president of the United States, the biggest economy in the world, he was 39 years and he became president at 45. 45 years and 9 months. We need to believe in ourselves hard enough that we can lead Kenya. Amongst ourselves, one of us can be president. If the biggest and most powerful country on earth was once led by a 45-year-old, then we can lead this economy of ours. It's smaller than California. It's smaller than most countries. So that change that we want, that change that we desire, that change that has kept us talking here until midnight, we need to believe that we can be. This is our moment. This is our time. Don't let anyone tell you any other thing that we cannot be. We cannot be presidents. We can be presidents, MPs, women reps, and MCAs. It's time for a new dispensation. And we are the ones who will deliver that dispensation. No one else. You cannot change the forest. So let's just change everything. And then Kenya will change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. We've bumped that message over and over again. It's time for us Kenyans to change. When you change the people, you change everything. When the people, as we've said, for Kenya to be great, we, the people, must first become a great people. We stop being just regular wananchi. We become wazalendo, that we are not thinking of what our country will do for us, but what we can do for our country, and then doing it. That's why we want to move forward from here. As I've said, we've culminated on this space after hopping around. We've said one of the things now we've learned from that is let's make sure we be following each other. Anytime you go into a space, as people are talking and people are in the comments, follow them in case at any point in time, let's say I'm hosting and I have a problem, I can drop it, Abdul host the space, or Anthony, or differently. The goal being use the same title so that people can just hop on to the next one. But I'm happy with the Abdul Rahman's connection. It has worked perfectly. So we want that to be one of the ways. We have alternatives. We will have the Telegram group. We'll definitely have a plan for WhatsApp. WhatsApp will be a key pointer for us on social media spaces, as well as Google. Wherever it is, we will be knowing how to coordinate ourselves to execute all these plans that we are bringing forward. For now, let's have that mindset that it's not a quick fix. The good thing is we've started moving. As we say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What's most important is that we are moving forward. Even if it's step by step, don't worry about the challenges. We are together. When we synergize our ideas and we bring our minds together, we become an unbeatable force. So with that, I'm just reminding you, let's follow each other so that when we put a meeting for tomorrow, I can, for those who might not have spoken today, we'll also be trying to give each other a break so that we don't meet Sunday to Sunday. But we will, again, those are things we'll agree in the groups. That's why you need to join those Telegram spaces. We'll be voting. You'll find their polls. Nothing is ever forced. Whatever we agree, we even agree on how often do we have the meetings. Do we want them in the space, Telegram space, doing them in X? Like we had gone to a Telegram space, and I think it's actually Abdul Rahman who said, this conversation needs to happen in the open. And we came back out, we said, you start the space so that as many as people as possible can engage. Then the nitty-gritties are in those groups and subgroups that we'll have in the Telegram spaces. So for me, it's to remind you to go to the Telegram, join there so that we don't disperse and forget each other. Let's follow each other so that the next meeting when it's announced, I think tomorrow we should give guys a rest. Or if you feel it's you still want to talk, we could do it a bit earlier. At 8 p.m., I've already stated that we'll be testing the blockchain. You had me speaking to somebody here. If we do a meeting, we can maybe make it a short one, maybe 4 to 6. We can do that. If you are up to it, you can put 100 or something. we can. Okay, let me see. Are you guys up for a meeting tomorrow? Okay, good. You can let guys rest. There's no hundreds. So, but that's why we need to follow each other and be in the Telegram groups, because then we'll announce the next hookup. But definitely tomorrow at 8 p.m. If you want to test the system, go to the Mkura. Whatever challenge you get, there's a testing app section. We want to iron it out. Wacha si tupitie hizo mashida, ndio wale tutapitishia baadaye. It will just be smooth sailing for them. We've learned that is the way to be selfless. Sorry for the guys. I can see guys requesting mic, but it's too late. It's a bit late. Please bear with us. Go to the group and post your comments there. The next time we have a meeting, I'll make sure we give you priority. I can see there's David, and we'll give you priority, and a Max. So I think I'll let Abdul Rahman close the session with his last comments, and then we will catch up again next time. Abdul Rahman, are you there? Ama amelala.
Abdul Rahman slept at 9:45.
He was kind, then he left us. Then let me say a good night. That means this space will be left. I can't share the mics anymore, guys. Let's just log out. We'll log out for him. Tomorrow we will catch up in the groups. Tomorrow we rest. Tutajipanga Monday. We'll be starting with the name, the way forward. It will be solutions-based spaces. You come, you say, this is what I see, this is my idea, and we move forward that way. And we, in the groups, we are going to harmonize our civic education. You guys are so blessed. God bless you all. We catch up in the groups. Monday tutapanga mkutano. Good night, guys. For me, I am out of here. Good night.
No, we are going to sell our airport. We don't want this thing. We have given an ultimatum. So they're independent in their own way. They could be an affiliate member of KOTU or Kenya Federation of Employers and all those things. So my thinking is that we are losing the plot by focusing on formations. What we need is, even in Mau Mau time, Kenya African Union, and all revolutions, people formate in their own way. If you're in Kisumu, you guys organize yourselves. You know yourselves. If you're in Nairobi, we can talk who is there. Those guys who are in diaspora can talk who are there. Eventually, these things, a revolution is formed by a way of spontaneity, diversity of view, but not people being directed in one way. Because what we're trying to do is to remove, to disagree with the regime that is abducting people, killing people, not following the rule of law, using excess force, and sheer disregard for the rule of law. But on the other side, they're politicking. They're on top of cars. They're talking about Miradi, what, and lying to the villagers. So what is a real priority for us as a movement is, first of all, to look for pressing points. What can we achieve with our numbers? Our biggest strength is numbers. So what do we do with our numbers? Our biggest strength is technology. What do we do with our technology? What do we do with our what do you call it? What do we do? We are frugal. We are frugal in terms of we can change, we can move, we can withdraw, we can tactically withdraw, because we are competing with a regime that is established by the state. If it's police, there's a commanding structure. If it's a military, there's a commanding structure. If it's executive, there's a commanding structure. If it's legislation, there's a majority, there's a minority. A revolution is never guided in those structures. It must be amorphous. The moment you lose fearless, shapeless, leaderless, and you become with a leader, then you become a target and you'll be crushed. So I want to ask you, brethren, that let's not worry and fear that we are without form. Lack of formation is actually the biggest strength we have as a team, because as formless as we are, anything can happen anywhere. You saw today in Eldoret, in Nandi Hills, Ruto was heckled by his own people. And they're saying, Wongo, what, I think there's a video that is going around. If you check Alfred Keter, and I also posted in my timeline, and I reposted it from Alfred Keter. The other thing is, we have issues like banks. If you're a member of KCB, remove your money. Let's collapse government banks, because they're the ones using our money to finance oil scandal. The other one was called what? Ile ingine ya mafuta ya kupika, gas scandal. So there are things we can do. And those are the things that we need to tactfully start thinking about. I've had a lot of forums, and the people who are talking about leaders, parties, if you look at them, they have political ambitions, which is okay. Anybody can have a political, and we want to encourage fresh people. And that's why my tagline is fresh leadership. Not necessarily because I'm talking about myself, but I'm saying Kenya must have fresh set of leadership. Totally fresh. Akina Samuel, because the country is so big. Kutoka kwa mkubwa wa deep paka presidency, MCA. We just need to wipe all these guys. But we must do it strategically. If we fight everything that comes our way, any topic that comes our way, we lose a plot. Rastan, sorry for...
Can I ask you, maybe if you can talk about Mahal has been talking about Ugunja by-election, and also he's also been talking about getting involved in the by-election of Banisa, and I want maybe you to talk about it, because we're talking about draining the swamp, and I also mentioned something about recalling my member of parliament, which I put on hold because I realized you need to mobilize to make sure that at least if you're going to remove somebody, people want him gone. It is not going to remove somebody to bring another corrupt guy or to bring another worse guy, another cunning guy. So I want you to talk maybe about Ugunja. Let's say Ugunja was 30 days from now. Let's just hypothesize. Let's not 30 is maybe 90 days from now. Let's just put it 90 days in Akupatia, more time. Like what do we want us to do? Like Ugunja, 90 days from now, there's going to be a by-election in Ugunja. Gen Z tumesema MP wote hawarudi, au MP ODM hawarudi, MP OED hawarudi, au MP wenye kama uko na issue na CDF umekuwa kiva urudi. Now, like talk about, we are in that situation, we have created a space, you're talking to Kenyans, obviously we are few here, but you're talking to Kenyans. What will you want us to do in that situation, in this situation now?
Okay, thanks very much, brother. And let me address myself to two things, and that's a very good practical question. But without a practical possibility of explaining it. Number one, first of all, there cannot be an election in Kenya now. Any by-election cannot happen anytime now, because the issue that needs to be fixed is IBC. So what we need to be focusing on in how do we fix as Gen Z the IBC equation, because if Ruto and Raila are going to control the Electoral Commission, it means then they have their way. I had a discussion here earlier, sometimes I think last 2 days ago with Rastan. We had, say, 4 commissioners that were kicked out from IBC because of going against the current regime. If it serves my conscience right, instead of even having a new selection, because the selection is going to be as per recommendation of the political elite, of which is not a big issue really, but we can also pull another card and say, can those 4 people that were dismissed by having a contrary opinion with the chairman be reinstated because it was illegal? Because that's what Ruto wanted, because he wanted those guys to go out so that he can have a dysfunctional IBC, so that he can control the next set of arbiters or rather referees for the next election. And it has served him well because he has put the country at paralysis. Right now, even if you want to recall an MP, you recall him, but there's no by-election. So, in any case, supposing there was a competent IEBC now for an Unguja by-election, the question of Gen Z rallying against one person does not suffice. And I don't think we need to focus on that. Because the issue is we need to have local leaders, people who are really called to service and who are really keen to help their own people in their community, not helped by other forces of Nairobi or Mombasa. Just because you're Gen Z does not guarantee you whether you're going to be fresh leadership, does not guarantee you that you're going to serve Unguja people because the people from Nairobi have just said the former MP was bad. We must have ourselves, and if you want a leadership, don't rely on this Gen Z or Gen Zote ghost that it will help you to propel you to leadership. You must go to the ground. You must have the real calling. You must be able to be with your people, and you must be able to talk your things to the people. They must love you. And if the issue is just money and financing, then that will automatically come because the mood of the country is for change. But if, for example, you just want to be there, appear to be bright, appear to be young, and you want, you guys gonna come support me, man. I'm the newest. Yeah, I'm not a former guy. It's gonna work like that. So politics also has its own dynamics, and those who want to go in politics must start learning. And we could have other forums, like for example, I remember, if my history serves me well, and I'm sure people like Rastan, if you're aging as you're talking about, in the clamor for democracy, for liberation of African from colonial master, there were people who come to London, George Padmore, Jomo Kenyatta's, the Nkrumahs, the other people that were hitting legislations and London and Commonwealth and arguing the cases of African countries. And that was what evolved to colonialism, beside the people who are fighting in the mountains, fighting or Coyote, what is it called, the Samoe, the guy of Nandi, and the other people, Mijikenda, and other people who were Makatili and Meza, and all, it became a movement of sort like now Gen Z. It was erupting from all over the country, but leaders emerged. People who were saying, Mekatili Wameza had specific issues about coastal people. The Maumaus, Akina Deda and Kimathi were very young. If we talk about cow leader, who was, I think, Gesho, I forget his name. But those were all like people, but they guided the younger people who were able to go to the mountain. So I want people to forget this notion, or rather, I'm trying to implore that we should not think that we are so special to have this thing by
James Geshoro.
Those were older people, but they really were the guys who were behind Kenya African Union, and they actually sponsored Jomo Kenyatta to go to London to go and study writing letters and all those things that Jomo Kenyatta argues he did. But eventually, the script was he's able to go and hear. He can hear what those guys talk and the language they learn and be able to argue their case. Of course, Kenyatta had his own misfortunes and his own drinking and smoking. In fact, the first wife in his book says when he had Jomo Kenyatta was appointed Prime Minister of Kenya, sorry to digress, he was very shocked. How can that smoker and drunkard become a prime minister? That country is doomed. But in a way, Jomo Kenyatta was talented in his own way. He suffered. He was kicked out of from houses. He was almost sleeping in the streets. But they are very, very strong with Marcus Garvey, another Pan-Africanist, Kwame Nkrumah. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say, history never changes. Nothing changes in the world. These scripts have been played before. So what we have now as this generation and older generation, we have an enabler. The enabler is technology. So we are able to communicate more rapidly. Information volatility is faster. We are able to format faster, but we should not get into the trap of being bundled into the game of the people who are oppressing us. For example, the people who are abducting us are calling us for a discussion. That one, it is good to forget about it. So we're not going to talk about. We should even be thinking, and I was actually thinking, how can we start a movement of abduction, the Abductees Association of Kenya, Human Rights for Abductees Association of Kenya, a small group. It can be 10 people in Nairobi, making press conferences, giving a database and talking about that as an issue. Let's talk about another one of political freedom and freedom of expression. Journalists. Let's have another one on lawyers. That is how we're going to win this war. But the moment we start thinking of having one formation that can topple this government, it will not happen. Because first of all, we shall have infighting, cousin and brotherhood rivalry. We shall be infiltrated, and it shall not happen. But the moment we are spreading ourselves so thin all over the country, and I give you an example, the last Mandamano 99, where we failed, as much as it was a very brilliant idea to have occupy Nairobi and finish it, it was very easy for government to deal with it because it was a centralized attack towards government. So it was very easy to close all the major 5 highways that come to Nairobi and you neutralize the issue. But if it was countrywide, we are attacking all state houses in the country, for example, and we had given the energy of it, I'm sure one will have succeeded, or rather will have directed energy to one. But I'm not saying we have failed. I think what we've done is perfect, and I'm happy if the intelligence officers are listening.
Bro. Sorry. I'm listening all the time, but my head is going. Remember, I cannot trust anybody. So for a party right now, for me, my head cannot work. Because look at this. If you look from the top,
it's too early.
If you look from the top, if you look from the top, you can see if someone is becoming a president, he first goes make a deal with the white guys there. You see? But the countries which don't do that, they don't have even AMF, and they are very secure. They have their money. Even their currency is competing with the European currency. Like Botswana, check it yourself.
Taking over,
check it now. This country, Traore, Traore, you can see Botswana.